Okay, so this one's going out to my Commodore subscribers and anyone else which passes by and watches this video. This is the latest and greatest Commodore Vision OS 2.0. This one actually came out around middle December 2023, and the last time I covered and did a setup guide to get this up and running on your Windows-based computer, it was around May 2023. So in this setup guide, I'm going to be showing you how to set this up using VirtualBox. I'm going to be showing you the full installation process and actually going through what Commodore OS Vision has to offer. So there's going to be a lot of information in this guide, but you seriously need to check out this latest and best Commodore OS Vision yet. Check this one out. Okay, before I start today's setup guide for Commodore OS and how to set this up using VirtualBox, if you like what you see, stay, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content, including a plenitude of Commodore content. I'm a big Commodore fan. So we're looking at Commodore OS Vision, and this is 2.0, and this one released late last year, 2023, December. I've been meaning to do a setup guide for this. The last time I did this was back in May 2023. So yes, we got a brand new version of Commodore OS Vision, and if we go over to the website, you can download this using a torrent client, and that's what I'm currently doing right now. It's just under 6 gigabytes to download this using a torrent client of your choice. And another thing I need to say is that if anyone remembers the Commodore 64X by Commodore USA, which originally launched, well, around 15 years ago, these have actually just come back up for sale. I've gone onto the myretrocomputer.com website, and Commodore OS Vision actually comes with this. They're pretty expensive. If we go to order now, everything is sold out. So C64 bare bones in the UK is between 141 and 151 pounds. We've next got the C64X Extreme, 375 pounds, and the C64X is 940 pounds. And we've also got some really nice, impressive looking transparent cases. But like we can see, everything from my retro computer is literally out of stock. So if you're thinking about buying one of these and you just want to test out Commodore OS Vision 2.0, now is your chance. I'm also going to make a note, if you're interested in buying a C64X, then the bare bones edition literally just comes with the keys, mechanical keyboard in the case. The Extreme is the point to go to. That's going to feature the CPU and the motherboard and everything else. And the Ultimate's obviously going to feature the Ultimate stuff, which you really want, but it's very expensive. Let me show you something else. I've just seen this myself. If you go to new products, my retro computer is just announced an actual official Commodore monitor to go with the 64X. This one isn't released yet, but I'd imagine just like the modern day C64s that they're selling, these are going to be sold out straight away. So look at that beauty. Very nice casing. Very reminiscent of the original Commodore Amiga monitor. So yeah, kind of Commodore Amiga, but this one's actually going to be for the C64. I'd also imagine it's got HDMI built in, so you don't necessarily need this monitor to go with the 64X. So what we're going to do is just wait for that torrent to download, and in the meantime, if you fancy setting this up rather than going down the VirtualBox route, which I'm going to show you in this video, you can actually install the ISO image onto USB. If you go to the installation instructions, it will tell you just here that this is actually able to boot up through USB device. So all the information is just there, and I'm going to leave the link in my description for this. So whilst we're waiting for the torrent, we're then going to download VirtualBox. So what VirtualBox does, if you're new to it, you've not heard of it, it pretty much builds a virtual operating system. So for example, we could run Windows XP on Windows 11. So it creates a virtual space on your hard drive, if that makes sense. So first of all, we're using Windows. So we're going to download Windows Host here. And let's just download it. So once you download it, if we just set up VirtualBox, and press next, and next again, and yes. We're going to finally press yes again and install. Okay, so now that's installed, I'm just going to press finish and start Oracle VirtualBox. Okay, so finally that's now downloaded, and you should download yourself an ISO. So ISO is pretty much a disk image file. So what I'm going to do is use this one in VirtualBox. So if we open up VirtualBox again, what we're going to do is go to New, and we're going to call this Commodore OS. And under folder, you can leave this as standards. That's going to be C drive users with your name of your computer, and it's going to go into your VirtualBox. That's where all your settings are going to go. Next thing we need to do is ISO image. So currently it's going to say not selected. So if we just drop this down and go to other, we can then go to desktop and find that Commodore OS ISO. And here it is. So double left click on the ISO. And the type is Linux. It's a Linux-based operating system, and just remember that this is actually based for 64-bit computers only. So if you're running a 32-bit PC, it's not going to work. So next thing we're going to do is go to next. And base memory, you can drag the slide right up to the green point. Don't take it any further than that. And also with processors, just drag this up to the green point. Okay, so once that's done, we can then go to next again, and I'm going to leave this size to 20 gigabyte. The installation for Commodore OS 2.0 requires around 10 gigabyte, so just leave this be at 20 gigabyte. We can then go to next, and the final part on here is just a summarization of all the settings that we've made in what it's going to use in VirtualBox. So just press finish here. And you'll notice then on the side left, we've got Commodore OS. Okay, so if we right click on Commodore OS on the side just there, left click on settings, and we're just going to go down to display, which is the third option down. And there's another slide here, video memory. If you slide this up right to the point where it says 128 megabyte, that's fine. And we can then go down to OK. And next up, we're going to go to start. Okay, here we go. So just like a regular operating system setup, we got some options here. Okay then, so we're now going to start installing Commodore OS. So if I just press enter on Commodore OS Vision at the top. And here we go. We're now inside Commodore OS 2.0.
Welcome to Commodore OS Vision.
I'm going to just go to view and full screen mode. And if you're going to do this, just make a note just here that it says host key plus F to exit full screen and go back to Windows mode. And it also reminds us that this is going to be right control plus F. And just hit do not show this message again, switch. Okay, so we're now in full screen mode, and if you go up to the top right, we can now close VirtualBox down. So this is it. So we get a little welcome message and a really cool introduction.
To use Commodore OS Vision, you agree to the following terms.
I agree. Just go to continue. And just let this installer do its thing. And what this is checking the installation media, if you get any screen image problems, if you go to System at the top, Preferences, Hardware, Displays, from here you can set the correct resolution which matches your screen. You've also got a refresh rate just here, which in my case is 60 Hz because I'm running a 60 Hz screen. We also got rotation, but I'm going to just leave that as normal. And once you've set your resolution, just go to apply. Now we've also got Firefox Explorer on here, so if we open this, access the internet using Commodore OS Vision. And here we go, it's running a little bit slow at the moment, but this boots us straight into Commodore OS.net. But if I type in a website such as YouTube, here we go, here's Firefox through Commodore OS running YouTube. Okay, so we need to install this, and as you can see, I'm on 95% right now. But if it asks you to install it, then just install it. Remember, you got that 20 gigabyte reserve space when you were setting this up through VirtualBox. So just let it install to get to 100%, and that will be your installation of Commodore OS 2.0 finished. So what else can we do with this? If we go up to applications at the top, we can go to Commodore emulators, and of course it's got a range of Commodore emulators here. So we got the really awesome FSU AE for Amiga, which I've also done standalone setup guides for on my channel. We've also got the FSU AE arcade version as well. This we got the Commodore VIC-20 emulator, and I'm guessing all of these are Commodore 64 device based. So if we just go to Commodore 64, this is going to bring us into an almost Commodore 65 operating system with the lines at the top there. I've not actually used this, so I'm not sure how to run it at all. And there we go. So we got the emulators there as standard, just like the original 1.0 version of Commodore OS, which I did back in May 2023. If we go to System, Preferences, Hardware, and if we go down to Sound, you'll notice every now and again in Commodore OS you'll get these really intrusive sounds, which gets really annoying after a while. So you'll be able to mute these sounds from this section here. If we go back up to System, and this time we're going to go down to Control, we can then change the theme and how everything looks on Commodore OS. So for example, if I go down to, we can then change the appearance. So for example, for this glassy blue. And I really must sort that sound out. So sound. And I'm going to go to no sounds on this, that's after a while, so close. And from here we can also change background images as well. So if I go back to change theme, background, I can then change the backgrounds of it like I've already done just here. So let's go for a different type of backgrounds. Let's go for Earth. And there we go, now we've got a different appearance, and we got a new background image, which looks pretty cool. And if we go up to applications and we drop down to the bottom to emulators, we've also got a range of different emulators here, which is pretty interesting. From the Atari 2600, which is the Stella standalone emulator. We've also got MAME here, PlayStation 2 emulator. If I just click on this one, there we go, we can actually run PCSX2, which is a Linux version through Commodore OS, so I don't think that was on the last version of Commodore OS Vision, which is pretty funky. And back to applications, emulators again, so ZX Spectrum, Sega Genesis or Sega Mega Drive, it's there. And if we go to System Tools, we got lots of different tools here, including NVIDIA driver installers. Under Sound and Vision, we've got Audacity Audio Editor actually pre-installed with this. Audacity is a really nice free sound editor, which I sometimes use on my videos. We also got VLC Media Player pre-installed. Also in the control center, we can play around with Bluetooth settings here. So we can enable Bluetooth. If we drop right to the bottom on this little bar just here, which looks a lot like a Mac command line interface, this brings up a little command line terminal, much like CMD on Windows. Now, if you ever want to update Commodore OS, if you go to System and Preferences, if we go to Other, Software and Updates, from here we'll get a little window come up with different updates available, so it's worth checking on this part from time to time to download updates. And Commodore OS also supports Lutris, so of course Lutris is an application for Linux based operating systems which allows us to use Windows programs. So if we go to applications at the top and gaming services and tools, you'll find Lutris is listed just here, as well as Wine Tools. So of course both of these work with Windows programs most of the time, running on Linux based computers. I actually use Lutris for my Steam Deck from time to time. And just remember to close out a full screen mode, it's right control and F together. And if we got the file, close, and from here I'm going to go to save the machine state and go to OK. And that's going to then save all of our progress or work, whatever you've done on Commodore OS inside of VirtualBox. It links. And we can then close down VirtualBox altogether, and if you want to reopen it again, all we need to do is go to the VirtualBox shortcut. Your Commodore OS is now saved, and if we go to Start, this will then boot up your operating system again. And here we go, it's restoring everything that we've done during our use of Commodore OS. And that's it, we're back in, complete with settings that you might have played around with and done whatever you want with. So if we close out of here, and just remember to save the machine state every time you close this down. And if you want to find everything that's been saved using VirtualBox, if you want to find the location of it, if you went for the standard installation, which went to your C drive, if you just go to this PC, C drive, and it's going to be in your users folder, and then the name of your computer, in my case, my name of my computer is Jamie. If I open this, right near the bottom, you're going to find VirtualBox VMS. Of course, that's virtual machines. If you open this up, we'll then find your virtual operating system, which is Commodore OS, stored in here. And as we can see so far, during that process of installation, everything else I did, it's taken up just under 25 gigabyte of space. If we go in here, we've got everything here. So if you want to delete this, then you need to delete it from that folder. And that's it for today's Commodore OS 2.0 and VirtualBox setup guide. Like I said at the start of the video, you can actually install this by putting the ISO image onto a USB drive and booting up your computer with your USB in there. Just remember that you need to go into BIOS and you need to boot it from USB. It's not going to boot on itself, otherwise you end up booting the default operating system, which will likely be Windows. So just remember BIOS and then select your USB drive that your ISO image is on. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content. Also join me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. But until next time, stay Commodore.